And joining us today, great to welcome, really one of the legends of writing, particularly novels, his style of writing. This latest book is called The Assassin. It's another one of his great Isaac Bell adventures. We're joined today by #1 New York Times bestselling author Clive Cussler today from, I believe, out in Arizona. Is that right, Clive? Out in Arizona today?
Yes, on Scottsdale.
How are things out there? I guess similar to Florida weather-wise, right?
It's a little cool this morning, but it's supposed to be 82 today.
That's not bad any time of the year. First of all, congratulations on another one of the Isaac Bell books. I know you have several kind of series, but this one has been very good to you, I imagine, right?
Well, I've always been kind of a history nut, and this was, so much fun because, we've got a detective that's not a modern, in New York or anything. This is 1906. He works for called the Van Dorn Agency, which is like Pinkerton, and goes around the country and gets into. We do all the historical stuff. This one has to do with Rockefeller and the oil, situation that went on at that time, and all the other different oil companies, including Rockefeller. And we've had other ones that goes into the steel mill area, and then another one on the mining, all the big mining problems they had at the time, then on the railroads, and then the shipping, things that happened all the time, like the San Francisco earthquake, and I just like the hero drives jazzy old cars like locomobiles and Studs Bearcat and rides old Indian motorcycles. So it's a lot of fun for me because I've always been a history nut. So and he's different. There's no other detective out there that's operating in the early 1900s.
Yeah, that's what makes it unique. When you write about a guy that's over 100 years ago now, you can't have a lot of gadgets, I guess, right? He has to use the brain, right?
Oh yeah, just like the telephone didn't go from cross country until I think it was almost 1914.
Right.
Things like that, and then he goes to some party or a ball or something, playing. What music did they play? What dances did they dance to? How did the women dress and the men? And just things like that. Of course, the cars and describing cities and streets that don't exist any longer. So it's great fun, and everybody gets a kick out of the history involvement.
How do you go about when you write historical fiction? Do you go back and look at some of the old newspaper clippings, maybe, to get an idea of what things look like?
Oh yeah, back with the internet, you can do so much more than the old days where I had to go to the library. But
right.
Oh no, you can. There's so much written, at that time. People don't realize that, but there were tons of newspapers and. No, that was about it. There was no radio then or TV or anything. So it's, as I say, I really enjoy it. My co-writer, Justin Scott, is just a whiz at the old historic stuff, too.
Do you, you said you have a co-writer on this one. Do you kind of sit in the room and kick back and forth some ideas, kick back and forth dialogue, or what's your process when two people kind of write a book like this?
Well, I'll come up with a plot, the basic in this scene. I came up, let's do the oil, finagling that went on in those days and Rockefeller. And then we'll sit down and start plotting it out. And an ending, I have to have an ending to work towards. And then he'll go and start filling in kind of the middle. And then after you get so many pages, we'll get together again, and then we'll edit and go through it, and then I'll rewrite where it might call for it. Then goes back to him, then comes back to me, and then finally, when it's the product will end, and it'll finally come to me, and I'll just make a few notations, and we'll send it in to the publisher.
Do you write on a computer or typher, or what's your process?
Oh, computer.
Computer, sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Much easier than the old days.
The first book I wrote back in the early 70s was longhand. And then the second one I used an old Smith Corona portable. And then I got what did I get next? The Underwood. I think that was the one with the ball. And then finally, when the computers came out, I went on board, and I just love it because now, in the old days, when you type, here's the funny thing: if I typed the page and then I'd pull it off and I'd read it and there'd be mistakes or I'd want to change something, so I'd pre-type it again, and then maybe one more time, and then I'd type it again, and then I made some mistakes that whiteout wouldn't fix. So by the time I finish it, it's 5 pages. So, but now I can do it entire chapters, and then when I get finished, I hit the speller button and then print, and there she is. So it's a great help.
Maybe not the execution of it, coming up with the stories, but the process of putting it on the page is a little easier in the computers, right?
Oh yeah, because I still got old friends that write that still on the typewriter, and I think I've got one that still writes in longhand. So it's just some of them can let go. I had no problem with it.
Again, going back to the story, the name of the book is The Assassin, and it's about John D. Rockefeller, Standard Oil, and I guess it seems like the oil business back then was as volatile as it is today.
Oh yeah, probably. Maybe not on the smaller scale it is today, but it was a big deal then, and all the wildcatters and the big companies and Rockefeller, they were all fighting each other right until Teddy Roosevelt, split up Standard Oil. So, but there again, just in itself, it's a fascinating story.
And the assassin is don't give away too much here, but a sniper, I understand, gets into the company there and starts shooting people, right?
That's right. He's trying to get eventually in to take Standard Oil, and he's been knocking off some of these people and blowing up some of the oil fields, and so that's his plans to eventually take over Rockefeller's Standard Oil, and well, you just have to read the end to see what.
No, we don't want to give it away.
I always tell everybody, like the old cartoon, the butler did it.
Isaac Bell somehow gets involved, and it's his job to find out who did it and to stop him. So that's a fun kind of a format for you, and you've been so successful with it. You always kind of thinking up plot lines for future books. They kind of run in your head, or how do you go about coming up with different plot ideas?
Yeah, I'll just something on TV, or I'll read a book or something that strikes me that is not that close, but it maybe jumps a little. So it's similar, but I could build a plot around this particular situation. Or they find an old city under the sand, or they find a deep cavern under Nebraska or something. So it's always great fun to come up with something that hasn't been done before.
Well, again, the name of the book is called The Assassin. It's an Isaac Bell adventure. Just came out. I'm sure it'll be another great bestseller. And Clive Cussler, always a pleasure to read your books and have a chance to chat with you for a few minutes. And hopefully we can do it when the next one comes out. But thanks for joining us today.
Okay, Owens. So thank you so much.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.